Good evening. This 96th meeting of the 72nd term of the Baltimore City Council is now called to order. Members, as we continue to meet virtually, please note that you'll be recognized and then be able to speak once you're recognized. Tonight's invocation will be led by Reverend Rashad Singletary from Mount Olive Baptist Church. Following that, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Reverend? Uh-oh. Did we lose him? I can see the pastor. Pastor, are you there? Pastor, we cannot hear you. Looks like the Pastor, we still can't hear you at all.
President Scott, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm sorry about that. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity, Father, to say thank you. Thank you for Baltimore. Thank you for our beloved city. God, we pray, Father, that you would give us strategy, that you would give us the wisdom to do what it is that you have called us to do in this season. I pray for our mayor. I pray for our president. I pray for our entire city council representation. Give them the insight and the ability, God, to do what you called them to do. Take away distraction and allow them to be everything that they should be for the constituency of this city. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Stand one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. The clerk will call the roll of the members.
President Scott. Cohen.
Present.
Present. McCray.
Present.
Dorsey.
Present, sorry.
Emery. Councilman Henry.
Here.
Schleifer.
Present.
Middleton.
Present.
Pinkett.
Present.
Burnett.
Here.
Bullock.
Present.
Reisinger.
Here.
Costello.
Present.
Stokes.
Present.
Sneed.
Present.
Clark.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We will now proceed with the adoption of the journal.
Mr. President, the journal of the November 16th, 2020 proceeds on the council member's desk.
Without objection, the journal will be adopted. The journal is adopted. Before we move on to the next thing, I want to remind and ask our colleagues to turn their cameras on as we will be taking the council photo digitally this evening throughout the council meeting, so that we have a real representation of the term and how we come to a closure. Bills vetoed by the mayor can be found on pages 2 and 3 of the agenda.
City Council Bill 20-0543, COVID-19 employee retention, for the purpose of requiring certain successor business employees taking control over certain businesses from incumbent business employers to retain certain employees, requiring the incumbent business employer to provide the successor business employer with a list of certain employees, permitting a successor business employer from not retaining certain employees under certain circumstances requiring the posting of notice when certain business undergo a change in control, prohibiting retaliation against employees for seeking assistance from or cooperating with the Wage Commission, empowering the Wage Commission to issue subpoenas and administer oaths, establishing certain procedures for the administration of complaints by the Wage Commission, requiring certain reports, defining certain terms, establishing certain penalties, and providing for a special effective date.
Without objection, we will reconsider this bill. Roll call.
President Scott,
Yes.
Cohen,
Yes.
McCray,
Yes.
Dorsey,
Yes.
Henry, Councilman Henry, Schleifer,
No.
Middleton,
Yes.
Pinkett,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Bullock, Reisinger,
Yes.
Costello,
No.
Stokes, Councilman Stokes,
No.
Sneed,
I'm abstaining from this bill.
Clark,
Yes.
That's it. Councilman Henry is back. He got kicked out. He's back now.
Councilman Henry,
Yes.
eleven three one.
Thank you. 11 yeas, 3 noes, 1 abstention. This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0544, COVID-19 laid off employees' right of recall for the purpose of requiring certain employers to recall certain employees who have been laid off after the imposition of the COVID-19 state of emergency, specifying the procedures by which the recall will operate, prohibiting retaliation against employees for seeking assistance from or cooperating with the Wage Commission, empowering the Wage Commission to issue subpoenas and administer oaths, establishing certain procedures for the administration of complaints by the Wage Commission, requiring certain reports, defining certain terms, establishing certain penalties, and providing for a special effective date.
Without objection, we will reconsider this bill. Roll call.
President Scott,
Yes.
Cohen,
Yes.
McCray,
Yes.
Dorsey,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Schleifer,
No.
Middleton,
Yes.
Pinkett,
No.
Burnett,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Reisinger,
Yes.
Costello,
No.
Stokes,
No.
Sneed,
I abstain from this bill.
Clark.
Yes.
Mr. President, 10-4-1.
10 yeas, 4 nays, 1 abstention. This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0549, City Property, renaming the Columbus Obelisk Monument to the Police Violence Victims Monument. For the purpose of changing the name of the Columbus Obelisk Monument located in Hines Park, Block 4197, Lot 002, to the Police Violence Victims Monument.
Without objection, we will reconsider this bill. Roll call.
President Scott,
Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
McCray,
Yeah.
Dorsey,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Schleifer,
No.
Middleton,
No.
Pinkett,
No.
Burnett,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Reisinger,
No.
Costello,
No.
Stokes,
No.
Sneed,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
9 and 6, fail.
This bill is not approved. This bill fails. Bill signed by the mayor can be found on pages 2 to 13 of the council agenda. Resolutions to be introduced.
City Council Resolution 20-0260R, recognizing the service of Councilmember Edward Reisinger. For the purpose of recognizing Councilmember Edward Reisinger for his decades of service to Baltimore City on his retirement from the Baltimore City Council. Sponsors, President Scott.
Please note that all council members co-sponsor this resolution. Councilman Reisinger has served on the Baltimore City Council. He served first from 1990 to 1991, and then since 95 representing the 6th and later the 10th District. We all know that in his time here, Ed has been the voice and the soul for this council when it comes to representing all things South and Southwest Baltimore. I think Ed knows more about Moore Park, Cherry Hill, and Brooklyn than any other person in the city of Baltimore. And to the fact where if you want to know people's nicknames in Cherry Hill, if you want to ask someone to get it, you get it from Ed. Councilman Reisinger has been a great leader. We know the great work that he's done on the land use committee over the years and making sure and shepherding things through the city that we need. We would not have a zoning code rewrite if it were not for Councilman Ed Reisinger, and we all know the leadership that he showed for the environment in recent years, leading us on the Clean Air Act. Ed, we are very, very grateful to your years of service. I would say that I'm going to miss you, but I'm going to be bugging you all the time, and so you won't get too much retirement out of me. But just know, for me, since I came here as a staffer in 2007, I have greatly appreciated all the talks that we had of me sitting in one of those chairs in your office on advice about all things related to how city government works. As the former floor leader on the council, you understood some of the positions that I was in continuously, and just know that you will be missed as we move forward, not without you, but move on to the next generation. And just know that we will all be standing on the shoulders of some of the work that you have done in order to take Baltimore to its highest heights. So I wanted to say thank you for all your service. And before you get to speak, we're gonna go in order and allow any of our colleagues that want to talk about your years of service and what they think about your years of service, and more importantly, you as a kind, genuine person who just really loves Baltimore. So, Councilman Cohen?
Just want to say, Ed, you have been an absolute pleasure to work with, and, represent, that old South Baltimore that, I'm very fine and happy for your replacement, Councilmember-elect Porter, but she doesn't quite have the accent that you've got, so we're going to miss that on the council, my friend. And, look forward to seeing you soon anyway.
Councilwoman McCray?
Councilman, thank you for the lessons, the guidance, and the wisdom in my brief 16 short months. It's been very appreciated. It's been great working with you. Thank you.
Councilman Dorsey?
Maybe I'll go for a bike ride with you sometime, Ed. Maybe I'll get you out there on those hills in Morrill Park. Maybe we keep up like that, yeah? Maybe I'll get you out there. Thanks for your years of service, Ed.
Councilman Henry.
Apparently, I have the choice. I can either have video or I can have audio. And since I don't know American Sign Language, I'm going to leave the video off for this. Councilman Reisinger, you actually, everybody assumes that I've known Mary Pat the longest. I don't think people realize that you're the second longest of my colleagues here because you were here when I came to work for Mary Pat in October of 1991. You were here for your first tour of duty at City Hall. And I want you to know that I have enjoyed getting to know you better over the years, and I have immensely appreciated what I have learned from you over that time. As the President alluded to, watching you handle the Transform Baltimore was really a master class in legislation. The way you led the Land Use Committee during an incredible exercise in both community engagement and negotiating inside city government between the council and the administration, while at the same time keeping what was best for the people of Baltimore at the forefront, was really an amazing experience. I've enjoyed our talks, both in your office and in mine, and I want to thank you for adding the juice isn't worth the squeeze to my personal lexicon of how I measure whether or not it's worth doing something. So thank you, and I want to make this clear. I hope that this is not a goodbye or a farewell. I hope this is a thank you very much for your service, and I'll see you some more later.
We all know with Councilman Reisinger, the juice was always worth the squeeze. Anybody else? Councilman Shikra, I saw your hand.
Sure. Councilman Reisinger, you know, you've been one of the greatest neighbors anybody can ask for. You know, no late night parties. You know, you always have good advice, and I enjoyed coming into your office countless times, and enjoy just your advocacy as a whole on behalf of the entire city council. You know, when it came to the planning commission, you always stuck by your colleagues on whatever they needed for their districts, and I respect that and commend that. And just thank you for all your service. And you know, there's going to be big shoes to fill for whoever's taking your office. Hopefully, you know, they can step up. But you've been a great neighbor, and I've appreciated the time that we spent together. So thank you.
Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. My light seems to keep going in and out, so please bear with me. I guess what I have to say, it's kind of, I came on board with Councilman Reisinger here, and also Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark. You know, I've been with these two for going on 14 years, and it's moments like this when you realize how much life gets spent at work. And it's about the people you share a chunk of your life with. So it really gives some thought for all of us and how we continue to move forward on this council. One of the things, and I'm kind of talking about both of them together because they have been, both of them were a blessing to me when I started on the council. And one of the things I admired about both of them was their caring and passion for this city and all of the residents in the city of Baltimore. They both are very outspoken at times. They didn't pull any punches. Ed, you know, his push as Councilman Bill Henry, soon to be comptroller, had mentioned the Transform Baltimore. His leadership on that with the partnership of Councilwoman Clark just took the whole council to another level. you know, we went to every single district and spent 3 or 4 hours in each district. The total council visited every single district. And some of those evenings were just, you know, it was some crazy times. They both know how to manage and maintain order in a meeting. And, you know, when you become a council person, you're in a learning mode every single day. There's changes every single day, and they have helped and taught me so many things about PUDs, about and as I sit back and look at the council members that started on the last term and watching how, you know, and you got to admit, you have been learning things as you move along, and that's the way the job is. The chemistry that I've had with these two people have just been awesome. Sorry, the dog has interfered. They both have the utmost respect for women. I have been in meetings where they have, you know, expressed their opinion and stood up for the woman's perspective, and it's always important that you have a woman perspective in all the things that we handle. They've always had a historical and cultural perspective. It's important to have that wisdom as we move forward. I could just go on and on about both of these people, but they have definitely laid a true foundation for all of us as we continue in our next term, for those of us that are going to continue in the next 4 years. It's just phenomenal that the things that I have learned, and as you all know, for me, I'm going into my 4th term, and in this 4th term, it's a continued learning experience. You learn something new every single day. And I just want to thank both Councilman Reisinger and Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark for everything that you have taught me, and just Godspeed in the next chapter. Please stay in touch with us. I know everything that you do it's in your heart, and I know that it's kind of bittersweet. We've had our private conversations, but I'm here for you, whatever you need me, because both of you have surely helped me out in many ways. God bless you both. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Councilman Pinkett.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilman Reisinger, you are a true statesman and a consensus builder. Even beyond my term here on the council, I recall back when I served under Councilman Mitchell, having the opportunity to see him and you interact, and you have consistently been a man of your word. If you say you're going to do it, you do it. And so you are one, at least from my opinion, who doesn't seek the spotlight and is not looking for the soundbite, but much of the success of the council down through the ages has been a result of your leadership. So thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve with you. God bless.
Councilman Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. President. Look, I'd second and third everything that's been said. It's been a pleasure, both representing the southwest side of the city and all that you've done to help me get started in that work, and whether it be navigating some of the community presidents that you used to have when part of the 8th was in your district, sort of war stories of City Hall, just generally just popping in to have a good conversation about life or about the council and how it's changed over the years. I mean, as a young elected, that's always crucial for us to get that perspective, because while I would agree with the Vice President, we're definitely very much learning at new things every day, but I definitely value the expertise and the experience that that you all have brought to, and I would include the council vice president in that, had brought to us younger members, that context, that history, those learned lessons and mistakes that you made along the way, just to ensure that we don't make those exact same ones. And so I definitely appreciate the time I've had to serve with you, and looking forward to, I guess, we can grab a beer at some point after this, it won't be a Monday night, but you know, just to catch up and see how things are going for you down in South Baltimore. And I would also agree, the South Baltimore accent for sure is super authentic. And you know, again, appreciate your support, all the hard work over the years, and everything you've done for Baltimore.
Councilman Bullock?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to go ahead and help with the thank you.
Councilman, we're having a very tough time hearing you. We're having a tough time hearing you. Your connection is bad. We'll come back to you. Councilman Costello?
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilman Reisinger, my friend Ed, I'm going to deeply miss you. Appreciate all of our conversations over the years in your office and mine. I remember the first time I met you actually over at Metropolitan about 7 or 8 years ago. I thoroughly enjoyed our friendship over the years. You genuinely are a statesman. You're a shining example of someone who does try to build consensus. I think there's a lot to be said about that. In your immortal words, I don't want to beat my chest or nothing. I think you've earned the opportunity to beat your chest and be proud of all that you've accomplished in 25, 26 some odd years of service to the city of Baltimore. Ed, I wish you and your family all the best and happiness in your retirement. And I look forward to having you here again soon.
Thank you. Councilman Stokes?
Councilman Reisinger, I actually met you a long time ago, but I watched your leadership under the O'Malley administration, the Sheila Dixon administration, Mayor Young administration, Catherine Pugh administration, and Mayor Young's administration. So I watched your leadership, and it's been consistent the whole time. But when you retire from this job, I want to let you know you still are a friend of mine, and we still going to be friends when this is all over. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilwoman Snead?
Everybody said everything and covered everything. 200% agree with that. You have been such a mentor when I came onto the land and youth committee, and by just giving me material to read and to look out for, just not falling off the hold. I appreciate you, and I just look forward to continuing our relationship, even though we won't be there. So thank you for everything.
Thank you. Last but certainly not least, Council President for Life, Mary Pat Clark.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ed Reisinger is the best vote counter in the Baltimore City Council. I always tell him that. He knows it. And he adds to the votes as he's counting them because he just talks to you until you finally have a couple laughs and surrender and say, well, maybe I'll consider this. And that's how he counts. And if he's not getting to the number he needs, he will talk you to death until you finally surrender and say, I'll do it. On a serious note, we've mentioned transform. I'd like to again say, if he had done nothing else but lead us through the transform process, which just about transformed us into blithering idiots, if he had not kept us calm and helped us create a new zoning code, that would have been enough. It's like that. It's like what we say it would have been enough if he'd done that. But what I want to mention finally in my comments right now is, first of all, I love him, which he knows. and that's not to be rude, Ed, but I love you. Zero waste. And the protection of that Southwest Baltimore community, the attempt through years to help lead the effort for us to have clean air in Baltimore City, but that clean air gets dirty right there in the Southwest District that Ed represents. So he has been a leader on the ground and in this council to help us find our way to the zero waste future that we have planned for so hard. And I want to congratulate and thank him for that. It's been a hard struggle. We've had our ups and our downs, but I think we can get there. And I hope that Ed will not go too far away from where he lives so he can get out there and protest and demonstrate and come in and testify now and then about how we can get ourselves into this global warming opposition from the local level with zero waste. So, Ed, God bless you. Thank you for everything. And thank you for being a real giant among us as far as leading legislation that counts. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Reisinger? Oh, sorry, Councilman Bullock is back, so you gotta wait 2 more seconds.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Again, Councilman Reisinger, every time I pass your office, you call me in and you'll ask me a question, you'll give me some knowledge, you'll talk about things that they have knowledge about at that meeting, and it's very helpful. And so thank you. Even before I was in the council, we got a chance to meet and break bread and talk about the city, and you've also shared with me, like you shared with Councilman Burnett. I used to represent part of the district that I represent now. And you've given me a lot of information that is very helpful. So you'll be very much missed. But I hope the best for you and your family and your retirement. I know you will be busy doing some things that will bring you joy. So all the best for you, sir.
Councilman Reisinger?
Wow. Mr. President and my colleagues, I want to thank you for your comments. Deeply appreciate it. And Mr. President, I just want to say thank you for the resolution. It was worth the squeeze. And and it has been a long journey, 27, 28 years. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve the City Council, representing the citizens of my district and also the citizens of Baltimore. I appreciate the opportunity of working with you, Mr. President, and my colleagues. And as I sit and reflect, I appreciate what I appreciate and will miss is the relationships that I've established in City Hall and outside City Hall. I'm going to really miss the people, the community reps, the community, business community reps, my colleagues in the past and my current colleagues. I'm going to miss my 2 colleagues. When I say senior, I mean longevity. Councilwoman Middleton and Councilwoman Clark. I will miss those early morning and late night phone calls talking about legislation and politics. And so, Mr. President, also at this time, I want to thank my staff for their hard work and dedication, Lynn Bardo and Javon Harris. I also want to thank Council Services, who staff my land use committee, Larry Green, Matt Peters, and especially Jennifer Coates, who really took me under her wing and taught me and mentored me in regards to zoning and planning. And Mr. President, I really just want to conclude that by wishing you as the mayor and my colleagues much success as you continue to improve the lives of the people who live in Baltimore City. And I wish everyone to be careful and stay safe, and thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you very much. Job well done. Job well done. Chair recognizes Council Vice President Middleton. Man, Vice President, you're on mute.
Oh,
You're good now.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. Where are we on the agenda? What did you just ask? Repeat, please.
This is for you to move for immediate adoption.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to move for immediate adoption.
Second.
Without objection, the rules will be suspended. The rules are suspended. Roll call.
President.
Yes.
Owen.
Yes.
Cray.
Yes.
Dorsey.
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Schleifer.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Pinkett.
Yes.
Net.
Yes.
Bullock.
Yes.
Reisinger.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Stokes.
Absolutely, yes.
Sneed.
Yes.
Councilwoman
Yes, of course.
Clark.
Yes. Yes. For sure.
The motion is approved. This resolution has been adopted.
City Council Resolution 20-0261R, recognizing the service of Councilmember Mary Pat Clark. For the purpose of recognizing Councilmember Mary Pat Clark for her decades of service to Baltimore City on her retirement from the Baltimore City Council. Sponsors, President Scott.
Please note, they say President Scott and all members as co-sponsors. Council President for Life, Mary Pat Clark. I don't think that one resolution or one council meeting can do the years of 32, to be exact, total years of service to the city council. And I was thinking about this only because this is something that you said to me before. As you know, it was your husband who who ran for Senate back in 1970. And I wonder how different the world would be if he would have got into politics and not you. So now we know what happened. You, Councilwoman or Council President, as I like to say, were a true and all will ever be known as a trailblazer, becoming the first woman to sit at the City Council President level, cracking that ceiling so that we can all be a better place. When you think about and when they write the history on what it means to do constituent service, there will be a picture of you with a pen and a pad right there for sure. I know for me, as I told you many times, I don't have any memories of folks as a young child about constituent service other than this yellow picture on my refrigerator with you in every number to city government, and this is, of course, was in the 90s. You cannot go anywhere. If you go to a farmer's market, if you go to a store, if you stop to pump your gas, there is someone who has had their water bill, their pothole, their stop sign, a bar. I, as you know, am a product of the work of you stopping Huffman's Liquor at the corner for Park and Cold Spring from being a BD7 into only being a tavern, which allowed me a little more peace in my childhood. We all know that citizens across the city of Baltimore have been deeply touched by your service. But it's not just about constituent service. We know you have led on rental housing LGBTQ rights, water affordability and accountability, protection of the environment, and of course, a $15 minimum wage, and I could go on and on and on and on. Your career also showed folks how you can come back and bounce back. After not successfully becoming the mayor, you didn't give up. You came back to the council once again and have led again, and two different decades since then. And for me personally, and this is actually the first time that I've told this story publicly, you know it, of course, when I came to city council chambers way back in 2006, it even might have been, and was going for the vacancy in the 6th district. And we all know I love the council vice president, so it worked out the right way. There were only a few people on the council that spoke to me after. One, it was Mayor Rollins Blake. You, Councilman, were the other, and Mayor Young was the other person. And I have something that I keep in a little scrapbook of documents at home, and it was a letter that you wrote to me after I went for the vacancy in that district. And the letter simply ended with what would end to be the most encouraging words for me that I took, as we all know I'm very competitive, I took as a challenge. It ended by saying, how fast can I get there? How fast can you get here? And I think it took me a little bit over 4 years to get there, but I got there as quickly as humanly possible. I will never, never, never forget all of the things that we've done together, even as my time as a liaison. We got in a little bit of trouble in the blizzard. We won't talk too deeply about that, but it was about constituent service. I have learned personally so much from you about what it means to be a leader, what it means to be a legislator, but most importantly, what it means to do the job with the utmost ability to stay humble and connected to the community. We know that you won't be far from us, but just know here in these chambers, in this building, in this complex of city buildings, you will deeply be missed, and you will forever for us be Council President Mary Pat Clark. I will now turn to my colleague, Councilman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mary Pat Clark, if you were to look into a dictionary and see the words public servant next to each other, big picture of Mary Pat Clark. We all in this chamber know it. I want to talk briefly about two things. One, how you have taught me about caring for young people in this role. Just your deep, deep, deep commitment to the city's children that has resounded throughout your time as councilperson, as council president, and then as councilperson again. There are so many children in our city who know the name Mary Pat. It's not just adults at a gas station, it's kids as well, because you consistently stood up and fought for them. Second thing, and it's related, is your mentorship. I consider myself blessed. I consider you like a council mother or a council booby. You took me under your wing. I know that, again, for many of us in this chamber, just your mentorship, your willingness to invest in us, time, energy, to teach us, to scold us when we did wrong, that has just been such a huge part of your legacy. And so I am so deeply grateful to call you my council mom, to get to have spent this time as your colleague, to have learned from you, for your mentorship, for your leadership. Thank you. And again, I hope to be able to still call you whenever I'm in a jam and have you help me figure it out, because you always do.
Councilwoman McCray.
I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you a lot. Councilman Cohen hit it on the nose. It's the mentorship. It's the encouragement. Like I said with Councilman Reisinger, it's the wisdom that you passed on to me, the history of this council. And I appreciate you. And I don't want to see you go. Thank you.
Councilman Dorsey.
Hi, Mary Pat. Mary Pat, I was 32 years old before I was struck with the most remote, fleeting inclination toward holding public office. I couldn't have told you who any member of the city council was. I couldn't have told you the difference between the House of Delegates and the state Senate. I was that entirely ignorant of how things work. But somehow Mary Pat Clark was a household name and had been my entire life. And that when I first decided I better start showing up and figuring things out, you were a point of orientation. And I think that's what you've been for this city for a long, long time. A light around which many of us have revolved. And it is a real privilege to have worked with you. On the other hand, it's really difficult sharing representation of my neighborhood with you. They all like you a lot better than they like me. They've all known you. I've lived in this same neighborhood for 25 years. My parents are a half a block away from me, and they've known you longer than they've known me. And what is never going to leave me is the encouragement of hearing you say, of course I'm going to be there with you. Do you have your votes? Where's everybody else? And on the other hand, when I didn't expect you to be with me, the degree to which you so unnecessarily apologized for just being where you were at, it just was so, you know, you've been there and you've been up front, and it just is, it's just an extreme privilege to have shared the chambers with you. Thank you. One last thing, you know, before I ever saw you in my own community association meeting, I saw you at the 901 fish fry. And I tried to be like real cool and like walk up next to you and just, you know, be like talking, you know, to the side with you, whatever. And I introduced myself, and a couple of minutes later, you were just like, "What? So what's your name again?" And I told you, Ryan Dorsey. And you were just so cool. You were just like, Dorsey. That sounds like an electable name. And it was just such, again, it was just like there's such calmness, coolness, comfort. Something so natural about being that point of orientation. You let me know kind of where it all starts. Just put myself out there and at least make sure people know who my name is. And that was the beginning for me. It was my absolute centering of my ability to make it to where I am today. It started right there with you in that one statement. So thank you forever.
Councilman Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. If anybody wants to go get a drink or something, I might be a moment. Mary Patricia. So I've known Mary Pat for 30 or so years. Mary Pat's known me for 50 or so years. The election that the council president referenced earlier, where the taller member of the family Joe Clark ran for the state senate in 1970, my father was the campaign manager for that campaign. So, as she often reminded me later, she has known me since I was in diapers. I got my job here in the city council president's office the old-fashioned way, which is I worked on the campaign. In the summer of 1991, when Mary Pat was running for re-election to council president, I came to her and I said, I'm not running for anything this summer, so I'd like to help you. And she said, well, the person who normally goes with me to events, George Brent, my constituent person, George is running for city council himself this summer. So I need somebody to go with me to things, you know, to collect cards for constituent problems and talk to people who are waiting to talk to me, you know, that kind of thing. And I said, sure, that sounds like fun. And so I spent the summer of 1991 on the evenings and weekends going with Mary Pat to various campaign events. And the specific story I'm going to tell, I didn't realize then, but that was going to be very important in understanding Mary Pat for the next half of my life, which was a Sunday afternoon. We had already gone to like 5 different events, and it was almost 6, and driver asked if she wanted to go to the last thing, or because she looked really tired, should we just skip it and go home? And Mary Pat was just slumped in the back seat of the car, totally exhausted. And she said, wait, what is it? And it was a crab feast at a banquet hall up on Harford Road. And she said, we'll just go for a minute. So I followed her in, and 35 minutes later, I'm leaning against a wall, trying to stay awake. Mary Pat is out on the floor dancing the electric slide. While she had been out on the dance floor, Ben Cardin had come in, gone to every table, shook every hand, and left in 14 minutes flat. But once Mary Pat was in the she was invigorated. Am I frozen? Her energy comes from literally the people of Baltimore City. And when Zeke said that if you look in the dictionary under public servant, you see a picture of Mary Pat. Yeah, but you can flip a couple pages back and look under nuclear reactor, and you're going to find a picture of Mary Pat there also, because she is constantly generating energy to give back to the people of Baltimore. She has been the ultimate city council person for this generation and the generation before, and thanks to a lot of the people that I'm looking at right now, will continue to inspire the next generation to come. And frankly, I can't imagine a better legacy and one more appropriate for such a charter lover. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sharper.
I don't even know where to start. But you know, like what you said, Mr. President, I could also go pretty far back with Councilwoman Clark. She was actually, I believe, the first campaign that I had ever worked on. My dad was very active on her campaign, and I was probably out there in diapers also, you know, with my dad at the polls, working for somebody I didn't know, and I would later in life get to work with, have the honor and privilege of working with, and it truly has been an honor. We've worked through a lot of pretty challenging issues, and you know, I've always had the greatest respect for how you handle everything, how you work with everybody. And I've also used you without you even knowing. When dealing with some agencies, I've always, if I wasn't getting what needed to get done for my district, I would threaten to bring you over to the agency with me. And nobody wants that. So they can say no to me, but they can't say no they can't say no to you. So if you don't mind, I plan to continue to make that threat, and once in a while I may need you to come with me to a couple agencies. But, thank you for everything that you've done for me and for the entire city as a whole.
Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did say some things earlier when I was talking about Councilman Reisinger, and of course, Councilwoman Clark is, just to add a few extra things, listening that, it's at the end of the day, it's not, she just constantly enforces, it's not about us. It's always, in the job that we do, it is always about our constituency. And to now, when I sit back and look that I am now the oldest person on the council, I kind of admit that now, I guess, which is a good thing. It's the years go by very quickly, as you see, from the last 4 years just went by so quickly. Again, she just reinforces the importance of the constituency and our jobs. And I first met Mary Pat through my husband Glenn. They have been long life friends and working in the movement forever. And I'm just so happy that I have met you and also consider you a part of the family. You have, you have that way about you that you help all families. You have helped and worked with times with our son. I mean, you definitely have that motherly, grandmotherly instinct, and I know that your immediate family is just probably so elated that you are now going to be spending a lot of time with your 10 grandchildren. So you take some time and you have fun. You deserve every bit of it. If you need me, and I'm sure this council, for anything, we will definitely be there for you. You will always be an ex officio member of this council. Thank you.
Councilman Pinkett.
Thank you. Mary Pat, I want to thank you because now, because of you, I have an image of Bill and Yitzi in diapers that I just can't seem to get out of my head right now. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the fact that I will spend tonight with that image in my mind. No, I think Councilman Cohen hit the nail on the head. You epitomize public servant. And many times people look at us and the work that we do, and while an aspect of it is political, it really is about serving people. And you have lived a life of serving people, serving Baltimore. Matter of fact, Council President said it as well. You aren't the councilwoman for the 14th district. You were Baltimore's councilwoman. There is no district in this city that you have not touched, that no district in this city that is not better because of your presence on the council. I think some of my most memorable times on the council were those rare occasions where both of us were on the same side of the issue, and that look of shock on your face. I would come home and tell my wife, I surprised Mary Pat today. She didn't think I was going to be. We use the term irreplaceable sometimes too frequently, and use it for individuals who don't deserve it. You are truly irreplaceable. The only thing that others can do that seek this life are to possibly try to model the template that you've created. But your presence will be missed. You are as much a part of Baltimore as any other aspect of our great city. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your model. Thank you for being you. God bless you.
Thank you. Councilman Burnett?
Oh man, so I don't think I worked on a Mary Pat campaign in diapers, but the first experience I had was I was knocking doors. I was working at the Service Employees Union, and they had me canvassing in Dolly Park, and I was trying to get survey signatures. And I, at that point, had been all across the city trying to do the same thing. And it was the first time where I had someone ask me, "Where's Mary Pat on this?" And repeatedly. And folks were not signing until Mary Pat said what she had to say about it. And so I waited around for their community association meeting, and out comes Mary Pat Clark, who at that point I knew was like a folk hero, and I'm like, oh my God, Mary Pat. And I watched her. I don't know if they still do it, but at the time they would always do like a neighborhood walk before their meetings. And so we're doing the walk, and I swear Mary Pat knew everyone, their grandkids, their nieces. I mean, it was just unbelievable to see that level of a connection to a neighborhood. I just hadn't seen anything like that. And then fast forward a few years later, when I'm door knocking, running for office in 2016, and I knocked on this guy's door, and he had, I guess, seen me kind of just like working my way up the block by myself. And he's like, "Man, like you've been out here just killing on these doors. I haven't seen anybody knocking on these doors so hard since that little white lady was running for council president." And I was like, "Mary Pat Clark," and he was like, "Yeah, you got my vote. You're the first person that's come back since she was here, so we're good." So one, thank you, Mary Pat, for that. You locked me in at least one vote before I got here. And then the third story I'll share was actually meeting you for the first time, face to face. We were at a union hall, and I walked in, and I think you were sitting with Bill Henry, and you look over and you're like, "Oh my God, we're so happy to see you guys." And I'm sitting there like, "You happy to see me?" Like, and us, like, how? Like, you know, with so much you had done for the city, like, that's impossible. But, you know, you've been a great mentor the entire time I've been here. You've shown how to lead. You've shown how to fight. You've shown authentic leadership the entire way. And all these years have not lost who you are, and in fact, lead with that. And just a wealth of knowledge. You've not stopped learning all this time. You've not stopped growing all this time. But most importantly, it's very clear from what you've heard from everyone so far that you've poured something into everybody to make the city a better place. And I think that's something that we all, at least I'll speak for myself, seek to do is, you know, it's not only, you know, how far you can advance in your own life, but can you make the lives of others around you better? Can you make the city of Baltimore a better place? Can we make sure that the council is left in good hands? And I think all of us will be taking a part of you and a part of what we've learned from you into either another term on this body, a different office, a different job. But I think all of us have learned something along the way that you've shown us. And yeah, I mean, you're just a rock star in real life. And so I'm so shocked every time we get to chat and talk and fight alongside for progressive bills and just really trying to move the city forward. Just want to thank you for everything you've done. And yes, I will still be calling you for stuff as well. So don't lose my number.
Councilman Bullock?
Thank you, Mr. President, and Councilman Mary Pat Clark. You know, we all love you. We know that you're a progressive voice on this council and pushing policies that have been good for the average person. You've been on the right side of history. But some of the things I would speak about are a little more personal. One of the things that you might have noticed is that throughout a lot of our lunches, when we couldn't meet, instead of being virtual, I would be near you. And one of the things that I also found very interesting is that we share this bond as educators. Oftentimes we talk about, you know, how's going to students. We talk about your time in education, but also the fact that you're a mother comes through very strongly. You know, my younger came over a minute ago, and my older son takes a meeting all the time. You would engage him. You would ask him questions. How are things going with you? What do you learn? And I really love that about you. Not only educator, but also as a mother. And one of the other things that I've also seen is evidenced by both our colleagues, City Councilor Henry, and our current mayor, former council president, that you are the training ground for so many elected officials and also great staff members, including one of my own. So I was very blessed and fortunate to be able to hire one of your former staff members in our office. And I didn't have to interview her, even like this, but the fact that I knew that she was coming from good people like yourself. So we will miss you, for all of your vigor and your vitality. But I will also miss your phone ringing during meetings. It's something I found so endearing, but it's also the fact that you were always available to people. You would always answer the phone. So then, thank you for everything you're doing. I love your smile. I love your spirit. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Councilman Reisinger.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mary Pat, I love you too. You're not just my colleague, but you're a friend. And if you remember back in, I think it was 1990, when I first came in the council, what you drilled into me was that city council is an institution. And also, you drilled into me that you must answer your telephone, so we didn't have email back then, but you must answer your telephone and you must attend council meetings. You will always be my mentor, Mary Pat. And you fight for the people, and I told you this before, that you could probably run in for council in any district and beat us. You could win. And the other thing that I respect and I remember about you is that you always agreed to disagree. No matter how many battles or fights we have, just like with comprehensive rezoning, we fought, we battled, and the next day we were good. And that's like with every legislation. And that's what I love about you. And you will be missed, Mary Pat. And I just want to thank you. Again, as I said, you're my friend, and you will always be my mentor. Thank you.
Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilwoman Clark, I'm going to genuinely miss you. I heard a couple people talk about encouragement. I'll never forget sitting through that first year of budget hearings in my first term and all the encouragement that you gave me. I remember the council president and the incoming council president and I would be sitting at a table on the left side during budget hearings. You would come over to us and tell us what was what. We all listened. We all understood that you were trying to share wisdom and guidance with us. And over the years, we may not have agreed on a whole lot, but I will say two things. One, I've always respected the fact that you have been nothing short of a class act the entire time that I've known you. And two, you may not know this about me, but everything that I've done with respect to constituent services and serving people has been modeled after the way that you've done things. So I appreciate that, and I wish you much happiness and health in your retirement. Hope to see you soon.
Councilman Stokes.
Wow. Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark, President Mary Pat Clark, professor and teacher at Johns Hopkins University, Mary Pat Clark. But I want to go back because I actually met Mary Pat Clark when Walter Olinsky was the president of the Baltimore City Council. When the council had 3 council members, and Kwaisi was there, and Ricky Spector, and all those past council people. But I wanted to, that's when I met Mary Pat, and I used to always hear about her constituent service, and she attended meetings, and the follow-up piece, and that's something I always heard, but I've seen it done by her. But my brother, bless his heart, he just passed away, Councilman Edwin Johnson. My brother, myself, and the Kerns were the only 2 brothers who ever served on this city council, and Mary Pat had actually worked with all of them. I guess I wouldn't be involved in this if it wasn't for my brother Edwin, Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark, and Bill Henry, your dad, Bill Henry Sr. He got me in this, along with my brother Edwin, but I want to just say that because Mary Pat, even if we don't agree, she always been professional. She never treated you no different. I think one year she ran for mayor against Kirk Smoke, and I was working for Kirk Smoke. She was not successful, but she never treated me no different. She's treated me the same way, all professional. So I just want to say to President Scott, the next mayor of Baltimore, I would like to say that we officially will make Mary Pat the council person for the 15th district today. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Sneed.
Everything I like, but it's also true. Being one of the young women in my government, I really reach out to Black community all the time, and Heather Ray says, I heard one in the middle time, you reach out to, I just was.
Councilwoman, we're having a tough time hearing you again. You might want to cut your video off to see if if the sound just comes through.
Oh.
You're good now, Councilwoman.
Sorry, so I just think about when I first got on the council and how Ms. Emmy did, I call her with such a great asset to me, being pregnant and the baby on the council and how she welcomed Ray and myself without like all the chaos that's going on in the current part of right now, to make sure that we were good in the council. And so we'll never the toy that she brought in for Ray to be comfortable at home. We had to advise her and the councilwoman Milton, this house will last long with the council. So I'm just thankful for all the advice, all the phone calls. Let me come into the office at any time, join her meeting. I'm just so thankful for your advice and for your mentorship. And I'll never forget it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Council President for life, ma'am, the floor is yours. You on mute, Councilwoman. It's the last time I have to say that.
Well, you're saying that, won't you, Mr. President? I mean, all these words of praise for a woman who can't get online, can't get heard because I can't work these buttons. But now that I've got one on, I'm going to take a couple minutes, if I may. First of all, you're all just about making me cry, and thank you for that. Thank you so much for all the kind words and just the stories and stories, because a whole bunch of my kids are watching tonight. In fact, they sent me already balloons for retiring. We have 4 kids. So I know that some of them are listening in, and I just want to say hello to them, if I may. So that would be John and Susan. That would be Aaron. Oh, they're in Connecticut. Then there's Aaron and David and their kids, and they're in Boston. And there is Susan and Jay, and theirs in L.A. And then Baltimore, we have Jenny and Fife and their kids. So somewhere out there, they might be tuning in for the first time. And my daughter Erin said that maybe I could just say that my goal has been to, as an elected official, to be an elected official who retires without having had to commit a crime. So far, so good. Thank you all for being my family of City Hall, and all the generations I hope to come. It has been an honor and a pleasure for me to serve in this council. And Mr. President, members of the council, I would like to tell you truly that of all the councils I have served with since I arrived here, and remember, I came in to a council that had Victorine Q. Adams and Barbara A. Mikulski already here. But still, of all the councils I've worked with, this is the hardest working. This is the best. For the most people together working to accomplish very important things and to stick with it and to get it done and to make a difference in people's lives as individuals, but also as a group. And Mr. President, when you move down a couple stories, don't forget us up here. Well, I'll be gone, but don't forget what a wonderful council it is. And what I know of the young people coming in to join this council, it's going to be even better than ever. And the people in this council who maybe just started in 2016, that's right. It's your turn to bring everybody along that comes in and teach them what's going on. And I'll be watching you every Monday night to see how you're doing. And Mr. Mayor, as I already said for the Sun papers, that you surround yourself with good people. And you do. And that also includes these people right here. And I'm so proud to be a graduate now of this term of the Baltimore City Council. I'm so glad my kids are maybe tuning in and heard so many over-the-top kind things said. They've given up a lot, and so has Joe, with all the time I do spend with all the work that goes with this. And they've been very generous throughout all these years as kids and now adults. So I do want to finally, if I may, and thank you all. Today is, we have 10 grandchildren. The twins who live in Boston are having their birthday today, Pearl Harbor Day, that my daughter calls a day which lives in infancy because they were born there. And so, happy birthday, Claire and Tom Gordon, and many more of the same. And thank you, family, for tuning in. Thanks for the balloons. Thanks, City Council, for being the finest group I have served with out of serving with a lot. And please, please, we're all counting on you right here. And I know you're going to take us into a great future in Baltimore. I know it, or I wouldn't have left. And I would have stayed and just gone old on you. But I've said to myself, the old order changes, yielding place to new, and God fulfills himself in many ways, lest one good custom should corrupt the world. Let me be the custom that knew when it was time to move on, so that you all could fill your ranks and do what you have to do to move us to forward in fairness and joy. Thank you.
Mr. President? Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Vice President.
On that note, I'd like to make a motion to move this resolution for immediate adoption.
Second.
Without objection, the rules will be suspended. The rules are suspended. Roll call. Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
McCray,
Yeah.
Dorsey,
Yes.
Emery,
I'd like to explain my vote. No, just kidding, yes.
Schleifer,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes?
Pinkett,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Reisinger,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Stokes,
Absolutely, yes.
Snead,
Yes.
Ms. Clark.
Yes, and thank you so very much for everything, for being you.
Thank you. The motion is approved. This resolution has been adopted.
City Council Resolution 20-0262 R, recognizing the service of Councilmember Leon F. Pinkett III. For the purpose of recognizing Councilmember Leon F. Pinkett III for his service to Baltimore City. Sponsors President Scott.
Please note that all council colleagues are co-sponsoring this resolution. Reverend Councilman Leon Pinkett was a great addition to the City Council. For me, actually, I, of course, had the pleasure of working alongside Leon, and I were co-workers in the mayor's office before. Well, I left first, and then Leon came 5 years later on to as we joined us here on the City Council. But there's a lot that I can say about Leon. I think when you think about his leadership with the Black Arts and Entertainment District, him consistently reminding us that we have to be better in Baltimore City when dealing with Black-owned businesses, always forcing us to think about the impacts on the business community. There's something that Leon has done that has always been great. But for me, I always think about as well his connection. Sorry, you guys. Here we are between Councilman Henry and I. It seems that the internet in the chambers is taking turns on which one of us wants to have video or not. So Councilman Pinkett also had a great run of doing great things before he came to the City Council. I want to highlight that as well. I had the pleasure of working with Councilman Pinkett when we took a trip up to Philadelphia, and we were trying to attract a grocery store to Howard Park, which is now known as the ShopRite, Howard Park ShopRite in Councilman Burnett's district. It was Councilman Pinkett that organized that, and of course, working overseeing Mondawmin as Marshalls and Target and Raw and all of those things came is something that I will always appreciate. But what I most appreciate about Councilman Pinkett is that when I needed someone to hit a three-pointer to send Prince George's and Montgomery County home with a loss, I kicked it in the corner to Councilman Pinkett, and as I said that day, I knew he was going to hit the shot, and I know that Delegate Washington is still hurting for that loss because he brought home the victory. So, Councilman, you will be missed. I am going to ask our colleagues who want to speak to raise their hand so I can see you, and then I will recognize you. All right, I will start with Councilman Cohen.
Councilman Pinkett, Leon, it's just been an honor and a pleasure getting to serve with you. I appreciate about you most, man. You're just so dang earnest and just real, and and the thing that I'll forever remember you for on this council is just your persistent and consistent advocacy for West Baltimore and not allowing parts of our city like Sandtown to be left off the map, and just being always a voice for West Baltimore, for Sandtown, for parts of our city that just have not gotten the kind of love that they deserve. And I thank you for that, and I thank you for just continuing to show up and be a great colleague and just be a great champion for our city. And I look forward to whatever comes next for you, and hope to maintain our friendship, because, again, I just appreciate all you've done, man.
I think I saw Councilwoman McCrae's hand.
Councilman Pinkett, thank you for leading by example. Thank you for always saying what I'm thinking, asking all the questions that I want to ask, and I just want to lift up again the work that you've done around economic development. It's appreciated. We appreciate you, and I'm going to miss you within these committee hearings, and thank you. It's been an honor working with you.
I know I saw Councilman Dorsey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Leon, thanks for getting dragged into all those damn Complete Streets meetings. I hope that's not too profane for me to say here, but really, man, you got dragged into it, man. What were you thinking? I really appreciate your partnership, man. I really appreciate just the ability to partner with you in advocating for matters that we're both learning about and both kind of taking up the kind of the mantle of, and exploring, you know, how we get people to think differently about difficult ideas and things that we're, you know, deeply ingrained in our learning about. That's not easy work. That's not easy work. And I could not have and would not have dug so deep over the last 4 years into things that have come to matter really deeply to me. If I didn't have a real partner on the council in knowing that somebody else cared about those things, and that has always been you. And so I'm really appreciative of you helping me to be better. Thank you, man.
All right. I saw Councilman, let's see, Councilman Costello.
Leon, I'm gonna miss you, man. I appreciate all of your partnership, your friendship, all the work that we've been able to do together in Central West Baltimore. Your visionary leadership on the West Baltimore Gateway and the 30/30 plan. I want you to know that I fully intend to follow through on that work. I plan to lean on you and reach out to you and seek your guidance and your support in helping to move forward your plan in Central West Baltimore. Because at the end of the day, it's one of the most visionary plans that I've ever seen for our city. And it deserves to be seen through. And that's a testament to you as a person and your work on the city council. I thank you for the partnership with the 7-Eleven cleanup every year, bringing hundreds of folks out, being up there at 7 in the morning with donuts and coffee, unloading the tools and everything. I wish you nothing but happiness and health in your next chapter. Enjoy your family. I'm sure you're going to be happy to see a lot more of them. And I look forward to coming to see you preach on a Sunday soon. Thank you, Leon.
Councilman Bullock.
Thank you, Mr. President, and Councilman Pinkett, my next door neighbor, literally in the office in City Hall, but also my neighbors in the north in the Summer District. You know, I always appreciate the fact that members on the council is the base district. And serving not only West Baltimore, but this city's whole, also my fellow leader on the council. I appreciate your cool and calm demeanor. I like that you really acknowledge the work you've done, but also just on a personal level, you know, appreciate our conversation around not only faith and fans, also what it is that we're called to do in the city. So again, thank you for everything that you've done. I know you have so much more work ahead of you, so I'll be looking forward to the next chapter is. So salute, sir.
Councilman Rashad.
Thank you, Mr. President. Leon, you're going to be missed. I just want to state that you not only represented your district, but you also represented the city of Baltimore when it came to promoting small businesses in the city, and especially how you emphasized and described the butterfly effect in the city when it comes to businesses, small businesses, and also housing in the city of Baltimore. And you sort of emphasized that and championed that, not just on the council, but I know a couple of times when you came into the planning commission, you emphasized that. So I want to thank you for your energy and your dedication and your support, and I know that you will be successful in the future. Thank you.
Councilman Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, thank you for helping us secure that win, Councilman Pinkett. And I think we have to go for that. But I do appreciate, again, your authenticity, your tenacity that you bring. You know, we've been on the opposite side of legislation, but I've never felt like following the meeting that we couldn't have a chat in the hallway or pop into your office. And I do appreciate that about you, that you just keep it pushing. Your focus is on Baltimore, the betterment of Baltimore, growing businesses in Baltimore. And thank you for all of that, you know, the service before coming to the council at BDC and helping to grow the business in the city of Baltimore, man. It's a big deal. Your faith and commitment to your family and to people around you is obvious when you walk in the room, that, you know, you're real. You're who you are. And a good leader, man. And so it's definitely been a pleasure coming in with you, learning from you, especially around the budget hearings and sort of the finance. You know, I describe the council a lot to people as, you know, a very dysfunctional family of experts and people that bring a lot of different life experiences and things to the council that all of us can learn from. And I don't have that background that you have, and so in those hearings, you weren't really saying the things to Councilman McCrae's point. You were saying the stuff she wanted to say. I just had a lot to learn, because I'm like, I didn't even think of it that way. So you really helped me see the world from a different lens, and I definitely appreciate that, man. And definitely good luck and blessings on whatever's next for you. Appreciate you.
Councilwoman Clark. I was wrong, Councilwoman. You're on mute.
See, it wasn't the last time. I wanted to add to what was just said. No, there is no last time. There is no end. Councilman, I sat through, we all sat through eight hours or something of hearings not too long ago about some legislation that would have put a stop to any new incinerators. It was a very complicated, long hearing with a lot of testimony. But throughout it, and this has happened before many times, your questions, your observations were the most important of all of us and of all the witnesses that day, to bring out some information you had thought about, but we had not, and that allowed us all to have the benefit of people answering your questions about very technical and complicated processes. Thank you. And that was just one example of what I have seen happen in hearings for these 4 years. Now, I know you've hung around City Hall for a long time before you ever got in the City Council. And I hope that you'll be active in the neighborhoods you have represented so well. And one final thing, I know you get your wife to smile if you come home and say, I made Mary Pat smile. Well, let me tell you what really makes me smile. I love looking at the room you sit in. It is so beautiful. I don't know anything about the rest of the inside of your house. But man, you got it. I love it. It makes me feel peaceful just to see you there and to hear you talk in such a lovely place. Thank you.
Councilwoman Snead.
So it's been so good working with the councilman. Not only do I love watching him crunch numbers on here to get some of those directors. It has been like great to see him in action, and also just running against each other, always in the next City Hall and being so professional. So that even when I was still trying to get bills passed, all that always put to the side when it was trying to get to work. I so appreciate that. I always knew that whether it be on different sides of the aisle on our issues, then I'll to hear him out. Hear the questions that he had for me, that he double prepared for what was going to happen down the line. Thank you for always taking the time, and I didn't take your vote for granted. And just thank you for being here and all that stuff that everyone said. It was definitely good work.
Council Vice President.
Councilman Pinkett, where do I begin? I guess I'll start with, I just had the pleasure of working with you as we shared the wonderful historical community of Ashburton and a section of Forest Park, and we be in some of those meetings, and I just want to thank you for having my back, as I had for you as well, because that's what it's all about. I also want to thank you for, really, you just have a fairness in development and giving that fair chance for the Black community, and you showed that with working to develop that Black Arts Historical District on Pennsylvania Avenue. You really worked hard with that. It came through, the Taxation, Finance, Economic Development Committee, and the people in that neighborhood was just the smiles on their faces for just bringing, you brought some hope into the businesses there. And a lot of that was because of the way you show how you love this city and you want fairness and equality. And just as the council president mentioned, a number of the projects that you have worked with in this city, believe me, they do not go unnoticed. And you have a skill that I hope that you can continue to use in some kind of way. I mean, it's you have a knack there for really helping and giving ideas in forming development in this city. And I hope in whatever your future endeavors are that you continue to work with that. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and I just wish you much success, and I hope this is not the last time that we meet or can work together, because I would definitely like to use your expertise as we get through and develop Park Heights.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilman Stokes?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to say to Reverend Pinkett, I was working for Councilman Stokes, and Reverend Pinkett was working for Councilman Kiefer Mitchell. And I seen the Reverend's leadership back then, how when you work for a council person, your staff is supposed to protect your council person. If something comes up, it don't get a surprise to your council person. So he showed that leadership, and he took that leadership over to BDC, and he showed the leadership in BDC. But I'm glad he pushed the issue about Black business and Black people in the city. The systemic racism that happened over 400 years of Black people in the city. And Mr. Reverend Pinkett, Councilman, I'm glad you pushed that out. We had a hearing on systemic racism, so I would be glad for you to be a part of the conversation, because it's not going nowhere until we change the policy. And Mr. Mayor put some funding to those kind of policies. Reverend Pinkett, it was a pleasure working with you, and I want to make sure that you still have that same number, I hope, because I will be calling you, and I want you to work with me on the systemic racism that's been happening to Black people in the city. So I know you're not retiring, because I'm going to burn your phone up, Reverend. But thank you for your leadership, and really enjoy working next to you.
Thank you. Madam Vice President?
I'd like to make a motion to move this resolution for immediate adoption.
Without objection, the rules will be suspended. The rules are suspended. Roll call.
President Scott? President Scott?
Yes.
Owen? Yes. Gray? Dorsey? Yes. Schleifer?
Yes.
Schleifer?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Pinkett?
Mr. President, may I explain my vote?
Sure, if you have to explain this one, the floor is yours, sir.
For the viewing audience, I'd like to inform you that the first portion of our broadcast was for those who chose retirement, and now proceeding into the portion of our program for whom retirement is chosen up. Okay. No, I want to. Wow. I want to thank everyone for your kind words. First and foremost, I want to thank the residents of the 7th District for trusting me to present them on the council. I don't have the experience that Councilwoman Clark has. When she says this is the best council that she's ever worked with. But in my time here, I can confirm what she has said. Because while I have not necessarily worked on the council, I've been around City Hall and had an opportunity to see those who served on the council. And this council, by far, as it relates to passion, commitment, dedication, knowledge, you study, you care deeply, you love this city, you are committed to its future. I'm honored to even be named amongst this group. It has been an incredible time. I've been blessed as a result, and I just thank you for the opportunity. I thank you for the times that we've shared. Our city, I don't have to rehearse the issues that are facing our city. But our city is in a much better place with you all's leadership. And so, while many may not appreciate the sacrifice that you all make, the commitment that you make, the dedication that is required to fulfill these roles, because I've walked in your shoes, I understand that commitment. I shouldn't be receiving any type of resolution. It's a resolution to all of us, the work that we collectively do on behalf of the city. And since I'm the Reverend, I must not have done a really good job. I need to start praying more. But God bless you all. And I just pray for your success, because in praying for your success, I'm praying for Baltimore's success. So God bless you. My vote is yes.
Councilman Burnett?
Yes.
Bullock?
Yes.
Reisinger?
Yes.
Costello? Costello's a yes. Stokes?
Absolutely, yes.
Smith?
Yes. That's my vote is yes.
Councilwoman Clark?
Yes, and let me say this. The choices we make, and so we always do determine retirement. And sometimes it's worth the risk. It's always worth the risk. Because what goes around comes around, and everybody that takes risks for something they care about, in the long run will find a way. Thank you. I didn't mean to lecture, but I don't want people to feel like victims who are very, very far from being that.
Thank you.
Yes.
This motion is approved. The resolution has been adopted.
City Council Resolution 20-0263R, recognizing the service of Councilmember Shannon Sneed. For the purpose of recognizing Councilmember Shannon Sneed for her service to Baltimore City, sponsors President Scott.
Please note all of our colleagues as co-sponsors. There is so much I could say about my good friend Councilwoman Sneed, who blazed the trail by coming into City Council and bringing Baby Ray with her. Baby Ray, if you guys who you haven't known, is almost the size of Councilman Burnett these days. So she has grown up before our eyes. But Councilwoman, we know you have led in a very, very, very great way in East Baltimore. As I often state, you and Councilman Dorsey were a blessing to me, in particular when you came onto the council, because it made my workload a little less than the one that I had in the previous term. But your work on the Labor Committee, when you think about the pieces of legislation, the conversations that we've had, even from things about the police department and making sure the folks live here, the fire department and how they are having women grow up through the ranks and into leadership in our department. That is some work that I don't think anyone should forget. And recognizing the importance of city leaders and residing in the city that they work in, and making sure that we have equity and representation throughout city government, is something that no one can ever take away from you. And I think that that's something you should always hold your head high from that. I know that I will continue to talk to you and communicate with you, but just know that you made this term a much better for all of the hard work that you did. So thank you very much for your service. And colleagues, if you raise your hand, I will call on you. I will call on Councilman Burnett first, since I called him out in my remarks.
Yeah, I'll just say I can't wait to dunk on the mayor of Baltimore coming out of this pandemic. I've been doing all kinds of leg exercises to continue my growth. But just want to say, man, it has been a journey with Councilmember Sneed. Similarly, first time I heard about Shannon was in the newspaper for her run back in 2011. And when I got to meet her through work at the Best Democratic Club and other stuff she was doing in East Baltimore, in my aunt's neighborhood, and my aunt's church, been a real just authentic, again, just like fighter for the people. I think the work that you did before you served on the council was evident in your district. Seeing you fight again and come back again and again, and just a fighter, like you get going and just get me going, like. And, you know, whether we were on the campaign trail, and I told folks back in 2016, you know, she was knocking doors on the east side, I'm knocking on the west side, and if I ever felt remotely tired, I go on social media thinking I'm finished, and I see she's still out there, right? And so I'm like, all right, we got to do some more. I'm not going to let Shannon outwork me. And I just think that commitment and passion showed, you know, you were able to hit the ground running this term with a number of bills that have just been fighting for the people, fighting for workers, fighting for women. And I won't discount like how difficult it must have been to be a mom and having Baby Ray, who I am taller for the viewers, taller than Phil, in the chambers and being really open about that and the struggles with that. And I know you caught heat for it, but you just kept going. And I think that's what I admire most about you, is just you're tenacious. You are a fighter for the people. You're a fighter for your district. You fight for this council. You fight for your allies, and if you with you, you with you. And you know, I call Shannon, hey, where you at on this? And she's like, I'm with it. I got you. And I know you got me. And I think that kind of, I think, you know, a sister from afar has been good for me, great for me. In this body, just knowing that I know that there's somebody that really has my back and has the people's back. I'm going to miss you in this work. But I know that you're still going to be fighting for the people of Baltimore. I mean, it's just in you. You can't take it out. And just looking, I mean, we're going to stay in touch. I appreciate your friendship, your mentorship along the way, and again, that fight and tenacity that you bring is going to be missed on this council. Thank you.
Councilman Bullock.
Thank you, Mr. President, and definitely give kudos to Councilmember Sneed, similar to Councilman Burnett. Shannon and I, we've known each other for years prior to being the council, and we both were unsuccessful in 2011, although you were much closer than I was, and a lot of us were sitting and biting our nails to see how close that race would be, because you were undeterred by that. The other thing that I really appreciate about you is that as a mother and an advocate, you've always wore on your sleeve, not just in terms of bringing your daughter to the council meeting into your office, but also pushing for legislation that spoke to those things. So your legacy will live on in City Hall, because you sponsor and pass bills that will improve the lives of people here in Baltimore. So, we're just thankful for you and your spirit, everything that you have done, but everything you're going to do. So you know the future is very bright for you. So, sister, all the best to you.
Councilwoman McCray, and for those who know, I went in that specific order for a reason.
Shannon, you have blazed a path, and you're going to continue to blaze a path. Danielle McCray would not be here on this council without you. You are my sister. You are my friend. And when Councilman Burnett spoke about you being a fighter, he said that word about 18 to 20 times. You are truly a fighter. And I know that you're going to keep fighting for the city that I know that we both love. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the work that you have done. I'm so proud of the doors, the ceilings, everything that you have broken down. And I'm excited. It's only 4 of us, 4 women who are going to be coming onto this council, who will be in this council. But I know because of you, it's going to be more in the next election. The work that you have done, the fight that you have started. I thank you. And I'm honored to be on this council with you.
Thank you. Councilman Cohen.
Shannon, it's been a tremendous honor and pleasure to get to share Fat Street with you, and to get to do the work. And I do have to just say, as someone who had a kid, well, my wife did, but who had my first child when I was getting ready for council, I was on council, just watching how you did as a parent was tremendously inspiring to me. Just being a truly working mom, public servant, the way you carried yourself, the way you brought Ray to chambers, the way you just served, and I would see you at community meetings with your daughter, was really, really, really incredibly inspiring, and made my journey as a parent better, just to see that it could be done, and just the grace and dignity that you did with it. And again, just the idea that, you didn't just do it, but you legislated it and made sure that, working moms in particular could see you out there, I think was just inspiring to a lot of people. And as a working dad, certainly was to me. So I thank you for that.
Councilman Dorsey, do you have your hand up?
Thank you, Mr. President. Hi, Shannon. You're my ride or die here. So, it really means a lot to me to have had the opportunity to work here with you. Like, immensely. Now, I didn't know you as well as, Chris or John certainly as long as them before we joined the council, but, you know, I saw the same things that they saw, that work ethic, and it was, from day one, inspiring to see, you know, and to hope for my own success, to be able to be a partner to you, to be able to join this council with you was something to aspire to. And you're my first call and you're my last call. I can call you because I know you're going to ask me the things that I don't think to ask, or, you know, you've got perspective and you bring uniqueness. The same thing that inspires people in you are the attributes that I find lacking in myself. And so you're a great first call, but you're also an easy last call because you wear your heart on your sleeve, and I know where you're going to be at. And I can't think of a single thing where we haven't been there together. Your values that you exude are tremendously personal and affecting for me, and I just feel at home working with you, and so it's meant a lot to me. And that's probably also because you represent my childhood home, right? We get to share that border along Chesterfield Avenue. And the only other place that I spent anywhere near as much time in my childhood than my home on Chesterfield is my cousin's house on Woodstock. And we share that border too. So I just feel so privileged to get to work with you. And yeah, I campaigned on the idea that we could turn this city around through serious policy change in 3 areas regarding the kind of fundamentals of livability: housing, employment, and transportation. And I knew in you that on the employment front and on labor, all I would ever need to do was show up and back you up, because you were always going to be the leader that we needed on that issue. And I have not been wrong about that, not for a minute. And it's been a privilege to be in so many of those fights with you on easily identifiable issues, but it will perhaps be even more rewarding to have closed out this term with the esoteric Administrative Procedure Act as a success that we bill that we endeavored into headlong together, like a totally weird bill, but it is an important part of the legacy that you will leave this city so much tremendously better, and that the citizens of this city will have a depth of accessibility and transparency in how their government works and serves them that they absolutely would not have if not for this critical bill being passed. And so I'm so proud to have gotten to work with you on that bill. And I love you, and I look forward to continuing to be friends.
Councilman Clark?
Shannon, I just wanted to tell you that I'm always looking for women that are going to be strong and mean and make a difference. And when I first laid eyes, well, it wasn't the first time, way back when you ran that first time, okay? We were standing in front of, I don't know, we were on Bel Air Road in front of something we were all going to do. I can't remember what it was. And I said, yes. And then 4 years later, it was yes time for you. And I was so thrilled and remain thrilled. You are You are smart, you are strong, you are a risk taker. You care about the people. I mean, those ladies, I know I used to represent, well, you know, I had your district, of course, but I had your district as part of my district, too. So I know all the ladies, a lot of those ladies. They love you to death and will always be there for you. So you're doing exactly what you've always been doing. You're taking the risk. You're saying maybe I got to make a difference. And sometimes it works, and sometimes you got to wait a couple years. What goes around comes around when it's a person like you. I know what it's like to serve a district and then go out of office, and especially in the beginning, and say, wait a minute, who am I? I'm not the councilwoman anymore. Who am I? I went through like a year until I finally remembered who I was. It happens to us when that happens. You just hang in there. You have a future. We're going to be saying, oh, it's Shannon, of course. Somehow, some way, just live your life, take your risks, trust your guts, and do what you want to do, and take care of that Ray, because she'll start taking care of you pretty soon. And it's all going to work out for us with you. So just live on and watch what happens, and when it does, just grab that ring and take that turn, okay? Because you got it. You've got it. And we need you. Thanks.
Let's see, Councilman Pinkett.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know if Shannon remembers. The first time that I met her was actually at my local ministry over in East Baltimore at Fayette and Patterson Park, where she visited New Harvest Ministries. And this has already been said. It was clear then the fight that she has in her, the tenacity, the desire to serve, but represent the community maybe in a way that it had not been represented. And that has not changed. An initial setback didn't change that, and it hasn't changed even up to today. She still carries that same passion, that same commitment. And even while we may have been on different sides during a campaign, we were joined in the fact that it was always about Baltimore, always about moving Baltimore forward, always about serving our city and putting our city in a better position. And so it was kind of strange. We were probably the worst opponents that we could possibly be, because we couldn't think of a negative thing to say about one another. It was always acknowledging the great work that has been done. I think it was kind of coincidence, and I'm going to finish with this, that just 2 days ago on my timeline, a photo popped up. And it was a photo from 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago to the day, it was December the 5th, and it was a photo of Shannon holding baby Ray. We were at a WEAA radio interview together. And when the photo popped up, it immediately reminded me when I first started working in City Hall and how I would carry my daughter from meeting to meeting, and she was always with me. She's a freshman in college now, so I don't carry her around as much. But it reminded me of the woman that she's become, and some of that was the result of the experiences, the access, seeing what the possibilities are. And I can't imagine the woman that Baby Ray will become, but there are so many other young women who will become what they thought they never could become, because you carried them when you were carrying Baby Ray. So thank you for your example. Thank you for your grace and leadership and your commitment and passion. God bless you.
Council Vice President Milton.
Thank you, Mr. President. just to piggyback on what everyone said, you have definitely shown your passion for the city of Baltimore, particularly the 13th district. You have definitely put on the map. There are so many needs in that neighborhood, or all those neighborhoods, and you have been steadfast in just trying to get help, particularly in those very impoverished neighborhoods. Some of the worst, you have to deal with some of the worst neighborhoods in the entire city, but you stayed, you just stayed and kicked all the punches, took all the punches. You also showed what a woman, a mother, a wife, holding all those hats, and still hold the hat of an elected official. And, a woman has so many things that we have to do. We have to change and switch gears with different things. I hate that I did not have really a chance to really get to know you, and I hate the design of that 5th floor, because we're we're divided as a council, really. And because we get involved in our own particular duties and communities, and then we come back to do our council meetings and stick with our committee meetings, we really don't have and you show that, we really don't have a good old boys network with women. And maybe that's something that we kind of, have to work on. I know that you are just going to, in your next endeavor, I know you're going to do a wonderful job, because you have so many different experiences that you can, use to whatever you're going to do next. As a number of people have said, in that labor committee, you just showed your passion for the everyday worker, particularly the workers in Baltimore City. And you have brought attention to a number of needs. You brought attention to the reasons why it's important that you have to live in the city to especially if you're in roles that are very important to getting policies and things passed. You need to be a part and live in the city. And you put policies in, or was the leader in helping to get those policies pushed through. I definitely thank you. You have a wonderful daughter that you're raising, a wonderful family, and thank you for putting yourself out there again and showing basically what a council person has to go through, and also get back to their family life. So again, I wish you much success, and I do love you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councilwoman Snead?
I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for all the kind words. Thank you to the residents of District 13 who elected me. It's been an honor and a privilege to represent the 13th District. I always say, let our work speak for ourselves. And so you guys have said it. I don't think I need to add anything more other than to thank my staff, thank my family and friends, and to thank the generation that set the path for me, like Councilwoman Middleton, like Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark, Councilwoman Branch. Those women, I'm walking on the path that you all set before me. And so I hope that I haven't let you down or anybody else down. I hope that I have made you proud, that I've served with integrity and character. And I thank you for everything that you have poured into me, so I can continuously pour into the men and the women behind me, the generation behind me, because of you. So thank you for everything. Again, I'm so proud of the work. MPC used to say, slow down, Shannon, you're going too fast, and you're talking too fast, say it over again. And I'm like, we have so much work to do in this 4 years, and I'm just trying to get everything done. And I don't think that there is something that I did not get done. And that's why I worked so hard and so fast. So thank you to my colleagues for your support. And congratulations to the new council that's coming in. I can't wait to see what you guys do next.
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilman Stokes.
Okay, I didn't know if you see my hand raised, so I wanted to say something. Councilwoman Sneed, I remember when you first ran for council and you lost about 43 votes. Is that correct? And I seen that 43 votes. And I seen the passion and the drive you had to come back and be successful and win that seat over in the 13th district. It was a pleasure working with you. We didn't always agree on everything, but you never treated me no different. But that's how the council is. It's not personal here. You know, you never treated me no different. We didn't always agree. But I see some great things here in Baltimore City, and you got some things in front of you probably would like to do. And the sky's the limit. So I look forward to hear other great things that you'll be doing in Baltimore. Thank you so much, and it was a pleasure working with you.
Thank you, Councilman. Madam Vice President.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to move this resolution. Is there someone else that'd like to speak?
Yeah, Councilman Costello just wrote his name.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilwoman Sneed, Shannon, I want to thank you for all your hard work over the years. Thank you for the friendship. And I want to wish you all the best in health and happiness and for your family. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the future and all the great things that you'll accomplish. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Vice President.
I'd like to make a motion to move this resolution for immediate adoption.
Without objection, the rules will be suspended. The rules are suspended. Roll call.
President Scott,
Yes.
Cohen,
Yes.
McCray, Dorsey,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Schleifer,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Pinkett,
Yeah.
Burnett, Councilman Buck,
Yes.
Reisinger,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Stokes,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yeah.
Clark.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
As the ayes have it, the motion is approved. This resolution has been adopted.
City Council Resolution 20-0264R, recognizing Mayor Young's service to the citizens of Baltimore for the purpose of recognizing and thanking Mayor Bernard C. Jack Young for his years of service to Baltimore City, sponsors President Scott.
Please note that this will be sponsored by all council members. I have already spoken at the Board of Estimates last week about Mayor Young's term of service and his selflessness. And to that end, I will also point out that during this council meeting, I got a text message from Mayor Young saying that I should not talk about him at length at this council meeting because this is my last council meeting, not his. So, Mayor Young, I will just reiterate what I said last week. When they talk about heart for service, we know that the face that will pop up will be Bernard C. Jack Young. You know you will be missed. You and I had a conversation again today about all that I appreciate from you from my time as staff, from my time as a council member, and as council president. I know the service and the heart for service that you have, especially when it comes to our young people. When the media asked me about what I thought about the legacy for Mayor Young, I said, well, you think about the tough times that he shepherded the city through with both ransomware and COVID-19. But I said, ultimately, I think it will be his heart and his service, especially for our young people. And when you know, for me, as a person who shows up to young people's wrecking cards, AAU games, whether it be basketball, football, track, I know that when I show up, that council president Mayor Young is going to be there for our young people. So, Mr. Mayor, if you're still watching, I'm sorry for going this long, but thank you for your service. Let's see, Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. Simply put, if it was not for Jack Young, I wouldn't be here today with all of you. Over the past several years, I've been blessed to learn a lot of life lessons and professional lessons from Jack Young. There's far too many to list this evening, but I will say two things. Jack was a proponent of and preached. Number one, never ever break your word. Number two, respond to everyone and prioritize constituent services. And as long as I've known Jack, that man has never broken his word. He instilled the importance of that in me and of many of our colleagues here tonight. If you make a commitment, it matters. It means something. You have to follow through on it. There's never any exceptions to that. Even if it hurts you, even if it's politically inconvenient, you must always follow through. In politics, you don't have much more than your word. Jack spent his entire career living by this and passed along this importance to not only me, but so many others. And Jack also said time and time again, when someone calls you, you take the call. It doesn't matter whether or not they voted for you. It doesn't matter if they made a campaign contribution. It doesn't matter if they were involved in their community. If they reached out and needed help, you helped them, period. And that's it. And you responded to them right away. This came before legislating, it came before press conferences, it came before interviews, it came before meetings and everything else. Jack lived by this his entire 25-year career serving our city. And for all my successes and failures over the past 6 years, while I certainly own my failures 100%, those successes are largely owed to the privilege of having been mentored by Jack Young. Mr. Mayor, I sincerely thank you for a quarter century of service to our city of Baltimore. For me, more importantly, I want to thank you for your friendship and your guidance over the years. Wishing you all the best in your next chapter. Much happiness spending time with Darlene and your grandbabies. I know you're going to continue to contribute to our city. I have no doubt about that. Jack, I love you, man. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, and I just want to, for the record, state that the lead co-sponsor on this resolution are Councilman Costello and Stokes. Councilman Stokes. You're on mute, Councilman.
Mayor Young, wow, I've been knowing Jack, and Jack know my family, my nieces, my nephews. I know his family. We grew up in the same neighborhood, and me and Mayor Jack Young always joke because when he became a city council person, we always laugh because he said I was a rebel. I wouldn't listen to nobody. And that seat that he got on the council the first time, he said it should have been mine. But I was a rebel. I didn't listen. I wanted to do it my way. I just was out there talking about real issues. Mr. Mayor, you've been a friend to my family. You like a brother of mine. And you know, we go way back. Jack, and we had a group called Eastern Forum Political Organization. That's when me and Jack became involved politically. And Councilman Henry, again, my brother Edwin Johnson, and your father, Bill Henry Sr., got me and Jack into this arena. So, Mr. Mayor, I want to just say about the legacy you left, the Youth Fund, the Water Affordability Act, and the Senior Symposium. You have left a legacy here, but you always talk about constituent service. And that got you from being a city council person to the president of the city council. And because you are still the mayor up until Thursday, I want to say, man, I love you, man. Anything I can do. Everybody don't agree with everything you probably said, but they don't agree with everything I say. That's fine. But anything I can do, and you always kept your word with me, you can always pick the phone up and call me, Mr. Mayor Jack Young. I love you, man.
Thank you. Councilman Clark.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. I first worked with Jack Young when he was very young father. He ran a laboratory over at Hopkins Hospital. And in his spare time, when I became president of the Baltimore City Council, he came to me and said that he would like to work as a clerk, which a clerk meant $2,000 a year, that we were allowed for one clerk per council person. And so he became my clerk. And it was the best bargain I ever made in my life. And he always reminds me how much he worked for $2,000 a year. But he represented me when I couldn't be at meetings, especially on the east side, or even church gatherings or the like. And every Monday morning, he would call up our office and tell George Brent, who worked in our office, all the constituent tasks that he had accumulated and what needed to be done and how fast it needed to be done. By Tuesday of every week, he would have called and begun to ask all of us how much of these things have been done. I have a great deal of long history and affection for the mayor. I think that he has been heroic as the mayor. It was a job he never wanted. He loves the council like a lot of us love the council because it's a family. And it gets dysfunctional, of course, like families do. But a family's the place that when you have to go there, they have to take you in. And so that's who we are, and that's what he loved the most. And I remember him doing so much work for so many people for so many years. And then he had to be the mayor. It was important. He had to be the mayor because it was his role. And he lived through this whole coronavirus, the mess up with all of our internet systems. He's been heroic. And I guess that's what happened and what fate intended for someone like Jack, who grew up in East Baltimore, who knew about community service, who knew that taking care of people was the first thing you had to think of before anything else. And so as the mayor, he's done that. He's been good and consistent, and he's come up with programs that directly help people to survive in these conditions. And he's my hero, certainly. And I appreciate the work he's done, and I know the sacrifices it meant for him, and also how disappointed he is in many ways, but he shouldn't be. It was God's will, it was Baltimore's need, and he stepped in and he filled it heroically. Every day, every day, every day he was there. I want to thank him, congratulate him, and wish him Godspeed, and thank him for being there when we needed him, whether he would have rather been someplace else or not. That was his calling. He honored it to the 10th degree. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Bullock.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. President, and I will keep it short. You know, similar to you, I had a story with then Council Member, then Council President Jack Young when I sat for a vacancy hearing, and he was very encouraging, even though I wasn't successful in that endeavor. But also, he's just a good man. And I think there are things that people don't understand about him, right? A deacon at the church, someone who's just a really down-to-earth guy, and he bakes cakes, and they're good. So I'll just say those are some of the things that I really appreciate about him as a person. He asks us about your family. He's a person, as Costello said, of his word. So just thank you for his service for years in the community, and look forward to a great future with him and his family. So thank you so much.
Councilman Cohen.
Quick Jack Young story. When I first got elected, I remember walking around my district with him. Literally every person in the world would come up and have something to say to him. And then immediately he'd be on his phone with the agency head, screaming and yelling about getting the pothole fixed or getting the lady's water bill taken care of or whatever the thing was. Exemplified the sort of Mary Pat Clark School of Public Service where you just get it done on the spot. You don't ask questions. Truly, truly, truly cared about people. And so grateful for his service.
Thank you. Council Vice President, last but not least.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to add to what everyone said. When I came up, well, first of all, a lot of people, you might hear Jack tell people we're related. Well, we really are. Jack's brother is married to one of my cousins. So we're kind of, related. He would always joke every now and again. But when I became a council member, Jack's office was right next to mine. And because of him having teachers like Mary Pat Clark, he brought all of those constituent service type teachings to me. And I just can't thank him enough for that. He, I was his vice president for a stint. And still, again, another learning curve for me. He is definitely, he loves Baltimore. He is definitely a part of this city. He has helped so many people with jobs. He started as an AFSCME member himself and worked his way up to becoming mayor. Sometimes you would hear him say how one of his role models was one of the former mayors from East Baltimore as well. So his arms have always been open in helping any and everybody. And I just want him to know that you hold your head up high because you were put in a predicament that where we needed you. This city needed you. You stepped up and you came through and you took us through the end, and everyone sees that. So, we all thank you for the wonderful service that you have given to this city for 25 plus years and how you have guided and helped every one of us. And again, we hope that in your next endeavor that you do see us. No one is ever really retired. You just probably now can control your time. And I know that your wife and family are elated that you definitely will be spending more time with them. And the love that you have for your grandchildren is just phenomenal. So you go out there and enjoy yourself. You deserve every bit of it. But we are here when you need us. And I know you better be expecting some phone calls from many of us as well as you move forward. Love you, Jack.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. You want to make the motion?
And on that note, I'd like to make a motion to move this resolution for immediate adoption.
Without objection, the rules will be suspended. The rules are suspended. Roll call.
President Scott?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
McCray?
Yes.
Dorsey?
Yes.
Henry? Councilman Henry?
Yes.
Slifer?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Pinkett?
Yes.
Yett?
Yes.
Bullock?
Yes.
Reisinger?
Yes.
Costello?
Mr. President, I'd like to explain my vote. There's something that I forgot to say. As you know from an event that you had last spring, and many people may not know, this man can sing. He sang happy birthday to you and showed you up at your own event. This man can sing like it's no one's business. I just wanted to have everyone on the list to mention that I guess.
Stokes,
Absolutely.
Sneed,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
All right, the ayes have it. This motion is approved. The resolution has been adopted.
City Council Resolution 20-0265R, recognizing the service of Comptroller Joan Pratt for the purpose of recognizing Comptroller Joan Pratt for her decades of service to Baltimore City. Sponsors, President Scott.
Thank you. Please note that all colleagues are co-sponsors. Comptroller Pratt served in this role with very, very, very good distinction, always dedicated to this role. I've given, as I did with the council president, gave remarks directly to her at the Board of Estimates last week, but thought it was important for us as a body to recognize her as well. I will turn it over to the council vice president.
We'd like to make a motion to move this resolution for immediate adoption.
Vice President. Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to take a moment to thank Comptroller Pratt. As many of you know, my key legislative initiative has been around audits and reforming the way that we do audits in Baltimore City. And Joan has been a real partner in that. And I really appreciate her collaboration on that effort over the years to help make our city more accountable. So, Madam Comptroller, Joan, thank you very much. I appreciate your long career in public service to our city. And I want to wish you nothing but health and happiness in your retirement.
Madam Vice President. Councilman Stokes. I saw Councilman Stokes.
No, the dean of the council can go ahead. I can wait. We all would.
No, Councilman, she's gonna make the motion, so you should go.
Oh, okay. I just, can you hear me? Okay. I just want to thank Joan for her many years of service. And I know we talked about council person Barbara Mikulski, but I think Joan has opened the door for leadership in this city for women also, and she needs to be commended of being the city controller, because I believe it was always dominated with a lot of men who were actually sat in that seat. So I want to commend Controller Joan Pratt for actually opening the door for women in this city to be the controller, but can hold those positions here in Baltimore City. Thank you, Mr. President.
Council Vice President.
I'd like to make a motion to move this resolution for immediate adoption.
Without objection, the rules should be suspended. Rules are suspended. Roll call.
President Scott.
Yes.
Owen.
Yes.
McCray.
Yes.
Yes. Henry.
Yes.
Schleifer. Ms. Schleifer.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Pinkett.
Yes.
Matt.
Yes.
Yes. Costello.
Reisinger.
I'm sorry, Reisinger. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Stokes.
Yes.
Sneed. Councilwoman Sneed. Clark.
Yes.
Ayes have it. This resolution has been approved.
City Council Resolution 0266R, honoring Senator Paul Sarbanes for the purpose of paying tribute to the life of Senator Paul Sarbanes and expressing appreciation for the many contributions he made to Baltimore City and for his many years of exemplary service to the citizens of Baltimore, Maryland.
Thank you. Please note that all council members are co-sponsoring this. We know losing Senator Paul Sarbanes is a huge loss for us as a city, as a state, as a country. We know that although he wasn't from Baltimore, from Southbury, started his political career as a delegate serving the 2nd District in 1966 and represented as congressman and then on the Senate, being the person who introduced the first articles of impeachment against President Richard Nixon. We know Senator Sarbanes' leadership is something that will never be replaced, and we know that in the wake of the intern scandal, we passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, a bipartisan bill that created many financial regulations, including business audits and accountability. We know that there will never be to replace or thank him for all that he's done, but on this day, we have to honor his memory and all the great work. Chair recognizes Council Vice President Milton.
I'd like to make a motion to move this resolution for immediate adoption.
Without objection, the rules will be suspended. The rules are suspended. Roll call.
President Scott?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Pray.
Yes.
Dorsey?
Yes.
Bree?
Yes.
Schleifer?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Pinkett?
Yes.
Burnett?
Yes.
Bullock?
Yes.
Reisinger?
Yes.
Costello?
Mr. President, I'd like to explain my vote. I just want to send my condolences to Congressman Sarbanes, John Sarbanes, and note that the senator was just an incredible friend to the Greek community here in Baltimore. And many of our friends that are of Greek heritage are definitely mourning his loss today. And just the incredible impact that he's had on our city. Vote yes.
Stokes?
Let me explain my vote. First of all, I want to give my condolences to the Sarbanes family and the current congressman over in D.C., but I know the fruits of Mr. Sarbanes' labor because I worked closely with Michael Sarbanes a while ago on the Dunbar project. So I already know that was already embedded in them from their father, just being involved in community, not just being holding office, but working with communities, black and white, and just getting things done. So I definitely vote yes.
Councilwoman Snead? Councilwoman is a yes. Councilwoman Clark?
In voting yes, I'd like to acknowledge that Senator Paul Sarbanes lived and blessed the 14th Council District for all of his term in office, for even when he was a delegate in the General Assembly, and when he went on to Washington to be our senator. We were very proud of his living with us. We are proud of the legacy he leaves behind for all of Baltimore, Maryland, and the nation. Thank you. I vote yes.
All right, the ayes have it. This motion is approved. The resolution has been adopted. Before we move on to community reports and bills on second reader, Chair recognizes Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move we read short titles for second and third reader for the duration of the hearing, and I suspect there will be no objections.
Without objection, we will read a short title for the remainder of the meeting. Short title will be read for the remainder of the meeting.
Mr. President?
Yes, Councilman Dorsey?
I'd like to make a motion for the suspension of other rules here.
Councilman, you don't have to. I think so. You're good.
Point of order, if I may, Mr. President. We're going to be reading a significant number of second reader bills to be moved on to third reader for final passage same day.
Yep.
Rule 12(1)B requires that be done by a roll call, and I would like to move to suspend the rule for the duration of the meeting that has to be done by a roll call so that it can be done by a reading of the names by the clerk instead.
I second that, Mr. President.
Without objection, the rules will be suspended. The rules are suspended. Thank you, Councilman Dorsey. We will now move to bills on second reader. Executive nominations.
EA 20-0287, Tyler Adamson, Member, Public Safety Advisory Commission, District 14.
Chair recognizes Councilman Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. The executive appointments held a hearing on December 2nd, 2020. I move the nomination favorable.
All those in favor of approving the nomination say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, this nomination is approved. All right, Health Committee.
City Council Bill 20-0189R, informational hearing overdose prevention sites.
Chair recognizes Councilman Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee held a hearing on December 1st, 2020, and I move the resolution favorable.
All those in favor of approving this resolution say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion is approved. This resolution is adopted. Before I go to Housing and Urban Affairs, for the record, please note that Councilman Dorsey, we have been informed by the parliamentarian that we cannot suspend that rule as it is required by charter, so we will have to read the roll call vote. Housing and Urban Affairs Committee.
City Council Bill 20-0524, city streets closing, 10-foot alley bounded by Harford Road, Normal Avenue, and Cliffview Avenue.
Chair recognizes Councilman Bullock.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee held its final hearings of the term on November 24th. And again, for this bill, we move it favorable.
All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. The motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader. Chair recognizes Councilman Bullock.
Yes, Mr. President, I was just going to move to invoke Rule 12-1 to advance to the third reading of the meeting.
Roll call.
President Scott, Coleman, McCray, Dorsey, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
This bill is approved. This motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader today. Judiciary Committee. No, sorry about that. Still in housing. Sorry about that, Councilman.
City Council Bill 20-0548, landmark list, Reed Callaway House.
Chair recognizes Councilman Bullock.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion approved. This bill moves to third reader. Chair recognizes Councilman Bullock.
Thank you, Mr. President. Once again, I'd like to
President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
This bill, the ayes have it. This bill moves to third reader today. Judiciary Committee.
City Council Bill 20-0607, naming an unnamed alley located in the rear of 216 Middle Street, Mira Alley.
Chair recognizes Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are amendments in my colleague's inbox. I move the amendments.
All those in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, amendments are approved. Chair recognizes Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. My favorite is amended.
All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, the motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader. Chair recognizes Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend Rule 12-1B to move the bill from second to third reading in the same day.
Roll call.
President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
Ayes have it. This bill moves to third reader today.
City Council Bill 20-0616, Comptroller, Clerk of the Board of Estimates.
Chair recognizes Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill favorably.
All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. The motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader. Chair recognizes Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend Rule 12(1)B to move the bill from second to third reader in the same evening.
Roll call.
President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Rosiger, Costello, Snead, Clark.
Ayes have it, this bill moves to third reader today.
City Council Bill 20-0633, City Property, naming Bocheck Fieldhouse to be Rocky Brown Fieldhouse.
Chair recognizes Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill favorably.
All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader. Chair recognizes Councilman Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend Rule 12(1)B to move the bill from second to third reader in the same evening.
Roll call.
President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Rosiger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
Ayes have it. This bill moves to third reader today. Land Use Committee.
City Council Bill 20-0556, rezoning 2087 Druid Park Drive.
Chair recognizes Councilman Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the finding of facts.
Without objection, the findings of fact will be approved. Findings of fact are approved. Chair recognizes Councilman Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the bill favorable.
All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader. Chair recognizes Councilman Reisinger.
Mr. President, I invoke Rule 12-1 for same-day advances from second reader to third reader.
Roll call.
President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Rosiger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
Ayes have it. This bill moves to third reader today.
City Council Bill 20-0594, rezoning 2426 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Chair recognizes Councilman Reisinger.
I move the finding of facts.
Without objection, the findings of fact will be adopted. Findings of fact are adopted. Chair recognizes Councilman Reisinger.
Move the bill favorable.
All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader. Chair recognizes Councilman Reisinger.
I invoke Rule 12-1 for same-day advances from second reader to third reader, Mr. President.
Roll call.
President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Rosiger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
Ayes have it. This bill moves to third reader today.
City Council Bill 20-0611, zoning, conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to two dwelling in R7 zoning district, variances 810 Argonne Drive.
Chair recognizes Councilman Reisinger.
I move the finding of facts.
Without objection, the findings of fact will be adopted. The findings of fact are adopted. Chair recognizes Councilman Reisinger.
Move the bill favorable.
All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. The motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader. Chair recognizes Councilman Reisinger.
I invoke Rule 12-1 for same-day advances from second reader to third reader.
And for the last time, I shall say roll call.
President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Rosiger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
The ayes have it. This bill moves to third reader today. Third reader requiring the invocation of City Council Rule 12-1 for same-day advancement from second to third reader.
City Council Bill 20-0524, city streets closing, 10-foot alley bounded by Harford Road, Normal Avenue, and Cliffview Avenue. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Rosiger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0548, landmark list, Reed Callaway House. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Rosiger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0556, rezoning 2087 Druid Park Drive. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Rosiger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0594, rezoning 2426 Pennsylvania Avenue. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Rosiger, Costello, Stokes, Snead, Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0607, naming an unnamed alley located in the rear of 216 East Biddle Street, Mirror Alley. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Schleifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello Stokes Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0611 zoning, conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to 2 dwelling units in the R7 zoning district, variances 810 Argonne Drive. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0616, Comptroller Clerk of Board of Estimates, President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0633, City Property, naming Bocheck Fieldhouse to be Rocky Brown Fieldhouse, President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Bullock, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved. Before we move on to the other bills on regular third read, I want to remind everyone that we should be cutting our cameras back on because we're going to be taking the council picture at the conclusion of third reader. Third reader for final passage.
City Council Bill 19-0439, franchise installation of 3 private water pipes in the bed of the 1000 block of McCullough Street. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
Council Bill 19-0458, franchise light pole base within the right-of-way of Quad Avenue at Interstate 95. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 19-0481, banning discrimination based on hair texture and protective hairstyles. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0564, Urban Renewal Middle East Amendment. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0573, franchise electric vehicle charging stations. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0576, sale of property, former beds of a 13-foot alley and a 20-foot alley. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0579, sale of property, former bed of a 10-foot alley. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0585, sale of property, Lake Clifton Senior High School number 40. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0586, sale of property, Lake Clifton Gatehouse. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Burnett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved.
City Council Bill 20-0610, repeal Ricerstown Plaza Transit Station Urban Renewal Area and Plan. President Scott, Cohen, McCray, Dorsey, Henry, Slifer, Middleton, Pinkett, Bullock, Roscoe Costello, Stokes, Snead Clark.
This bill is approved. As there are going to be no committee announcements today, just everyone make sure that your cameras are on so the staff can take the picture of us for the term. Councilman Costello, Councilwoman McCray, Councilman Dorsey. Councilman Costello is probably going to get a shirt and tie.
Sorry, Mr. President.
Uh-oh. Where did he go?
I'm here, Mr. President. Sorry.
We can't see your video, Councilman.
Sorry about that. I did get dressed up this evening.
We just wanted to make sure we got the full council on the picture, so we wanted to make sure that we were able to get everybody in. All right, I think they got it. So we will now move to regular announcements. I will start by asking the council vice president to honor a moment of silence to announce 308 victims of homicides in Baltimore City, all those that we've lost through COVID-19 and the continuing opioid epidemic in our city. Also, as this is the last time that I will address the council as the council president, I just want to first say that it has been my life dream and work to serve the city council and serve alongside so many of you each and every day. When I joined this council 9 years ago tomorrow, and upon my election as council president, I was committed to change within our city. And we know that over that time period, while we still have a tremendous amount of work to do in our city, we know that a lot of that has happened. You guys were here as we laid out the first ever legislative policy proposal for the city council. We've accomplished so much that we still have to do, even in that short time as me as council president, including facing the challenges that we did, like having ransomware happen my first day as council president. I have enjoyed each and every moment working with all of you who are on this council, looking forward as we move forward to understand that this council is in good hands. I know that my former council seat is going to be in great hands. I know that this presidency is going to be in great hands. And although wish I was able to say this to y'all in person, with the exception of Councilman Henry, who could not stay away from me for this last meeting, I want you to know that your hard work and dedication to our city means so much to every Baltimorean, but also to me. I will work and look forward to continuing to work with many of you and all of you who will be serving, and even those who are not returning, because I know that Councilwoman Clark and Councilman Pinkett and Councilwoman Sneed, we will continue to work with each other to make sure that Baltimore is becoming the very best representation of ourselves. I ask for now that we all just be mindful and remind ourselves that we have a lot of work to do, and that no, we're not going to always agree, but as Councilwoman Clark and everyone else has said today, it's about making sure that things are not personal, but that we are moving the city in the right direction for Baltimore, and I know that we will do that each and every day. Thank you, and I will now turn it over to Councilman Costello. Had his hand up first. Councilman Costello.
Mr. President, I just want to thank you for your leadership and friendship. I didn't think it would be possible to get a more suitable next door office mate, but I did. Councilwoman Danielle McCray far out exceeds you on that point, but I'm incredibly proud of you. I am really looking forward to working with you in your new capacity as the mayor of our city. You're going to be my mayor, and I'm very proud to say that. I will never forget the drives at 3 in the morning around the city, showing up in the middle of snowstorms, just you and I. And I know that your love for our city and for our residents and our businesses is unmatched. And I'm looking forward to your leadership and being a partner in that. So thank you, Mr. President, and wishing you, I believe this will be the last time I call you Mr. President. And I'm looking forward to calling you Mr. Mayor starting tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman, and please don't ever say the word snow again. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. Councilman Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. And again, I'm going to see if I can angle it so that I can actually look at you while I'm still facing the camera. I appreciate your belief that I wanted to be with you tonight. But the truth of the matter is, I also came down here to say goodbye to this room, and this is the second time that I've said goodbye to the room as somebody who regularly works in it. I have often joked that thanks to my now colleagues, formerly my president's devotion to her job and the belief that the staff should share her devotion, I have often joked that I have spent more hours awake in this room than in any other room on the planet, including the ones in my house. But I want to stress, I'm mostly here to say goodbye to the room, not the people. The people I'm going to continue to see, because I am literally right downstairs. Like, if you just cut a hole in the carpet where this desk is, you would drop down into the comptroller's office. And so I will still be here in City Hall. I still intend to see all of you. I still intend to work hard with all of you. I still intend to help the mayor-elect and the council president-elect move this city forward, because I've had a lot of good teachers over the years telling me how important it is that you focus on making Baltimore better. And that is going to be the only thing that we focus on for the next 4 years, is making Baltimore better. And I'm looking forward to all of you being part of that as well. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Somebody else had their hand up. Who was that? Oh, Councilwoman Clark. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, Mr. President, God bless you and keep you safe and keep you strong. I've watched you grow. We've all watched you grow from a snowstorm that we got ourselves in trouble about in original Northwood, and all the way up through all the other adventures and accomplishments. I think you're going to do a great job as a leader, as a whole generation. That generations who are older, like me, are totally counting on you. But of course, we'll be here to support you in ways that you indicate or let us know. But it's yours now, and we're yours. Let's go. We can do it. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Dorsey?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to, for anybody who's still maybe watching this 3 hours and 5 minutes into the beginning of this council meeting, assure them that while City Hall may need some repairs, you can't actually get to the 3rd floor by simply cutting a hole in the carpet on the 4th floor. It would actually take a little bit more work than that. And that's all I'm going to say. I look forward to continuing to work with Bill and Brandon, Mr. Comptroller, Mr. Mayor. Let's go get them.
Thank you, Councilman. And for the record, Councilman Henry wanted me to tell you that underneath the council chamber, there is no 3rd floor. Councilman PJ?
Thank you, Mr. President. In a night full of giving honor and accolades, I'm privileged to be able to call you friend and call you colleague, and congratulate you once again on the position, the title that you will be sworn into in just a short period of time. I don't think it's a coincidence that you have been a champion of equity. And to be a young black male who is now ascending to the position of mayor, I think it's God ordained that you would be in that position to be the champion, to be the change agent for equity, for a group of people in our city, if we would be honest, have not experienced the equity that they should have, and our city would be much different if they had. I want to give you a charge that that for which you seek, you are. And as the mayor, every morning that you wake up and you look at yourself in the mirror, your job is not done, your job is not complete until every black male in this city feels as though they can be in that same position that you find yourself in. And when we get to that point, you will, and we will have achieved equity in the city. God bless you. Much success, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Stokes, I'm sorry. Sorry, Councilman.
I guess I'd have to say Councilman Scott, Council President Scott, and their Mayor Scott. The only disagreement we had on the city council was, I went to Dunbar, you went to Maryville. We got more championships than y'all had. You always kept your word with me on the council, and I hope as the mayor, when you say no, you mean no. When you say yes, you mean yes, and I'll make sure I do that. But the only way that's going to be, you going to be successful is we got to make sure you're successful. If you are successful, Baltimore City is successful. So I'm going to say I wish you the best, and whatever I can do to move some stuff forward for you, then I'm there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Let me be the first to tell you no. Dunbar doesn't have as many championships as Mervo. You're counting only one sport. Councilman, who was that? Cohen.
Like a lot of my colleagues, hoping and praying for you, and do want to say that this is a guy who, when I was a nonprofit director, spent a lot of time with my students. And what I've noticed about Brandon Scott, our soon-to-be mayor, is that he's continued to spend a lot of time with our students, whether it's at Patterson or Digital or Mervo or Dunbar, doesn't matter. Just taking that time to inspire and be with young people, even as president and now as mayor, I think is something really laudable and something that I appreciate and that I know is going to inspire a lot of folks, like Councilman Pinkett said, a lot of young black men to want to be where you're going. So again, we're all rooting for you, and we got your back.
Thank you. Council Vice President?
Before I close out, I just...
Council Vice President, I'm sorry, before you do that, it is one last thing I wanted to say too. So,
can I say something about you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm going to come right back to you.
Okay.
Also, just want to make sure that we uplift all of the staff, for everyone in the council, including those in the council president's office. We did a lot of things differently. They helped us go through this virtual world. Some who will be continuing, some who are leaving us and going on to bigger and better things. We want to thank each and every one of them for all of their hard work to help us, to make us look good, and even look good, albeit in the Brady Bunch fashion, here on WebEx. So thank you. Council Vice President.
I just want to also thank you, Councilman, Council President, and now Mayor. I think it's important that I share. Both of us are an example of how important it is to have open lines of communication. How we have shown that it's our constituency and the people of the city that come first. And I want to thank you for meeting with me when the decisions were being made of who could continue on as the president of the council. People don't know a number of things. They just know what they see and what we show them. And I just want to say that when the time that we met and we decided to come together and do what we do, that took courage with both of us, and that showed me, and I hope it shows the people of this city how if the lines of communication are open, how we can talk and come to agreements and work together, and it's all been about the work. And I am proud of the decision that I made. And I wish you much success, and I'm here as your partner. I know we have a lot of work to do in Park Heights, and I know that's one of your missions as far as development, and I'm with you every step of the way. And we're going to continue to be partners and get things done in the city. So I just wanted to share that, and if no one else is saying anything, I would like to go on and go to the next step. Is there anyone else that's saying anything? Okay, you had mentioned I want to also mention a moment of silence for a 45-year employee His name was Charlie Johnson. That him and his family, he, of course, passed away from COVID-19 and had 45 years of service with this city. So I think he definitely, we should give prayers to him and his family, and also the 308 victims of homicide and their family, and also the people that are continuing to suffer and make through with this opioid epidemic. And also, as we continue to pray and get through the pandemic. And I'd like to close out this meeting by saying that this meeting, the Baltimore City Council meeting, is adjourned and sine die.
Thank you. There being no further business, this concludes the 96th meeting and the 72nd term of the Baltimore City Council.